Hello, welcome back. In this series of tutorial, we are creating a simple Fiori sales order application. And what we have done so far is that we have created an association to get the business partner details, and we have displayed this business partner detail information here. Now, what we will do is we will extend this application further, and we will display this item details as well. So first we will extend the backend gateway service in order to provide the item information. Then accordingly, we will also extend our UI application as well. So previously we have seen that the item detail is being retrieved with this function module BAPI EPM get detail. So this function module also returns this item data in the form of this particular structure BAPI EPM item, where it gives this what is the item number, what is the product, what is the gross amount of that, what is the quantity, and so on. So what we'll do is we'll create a sales order item entity of this particular structure. Then we will create an association with that of the sales order header, and we will display the item information. So what I will do is I'm going to create an entity with this particular structure. So I'll go here and I'm going to create an entity by importing a DDIC structure where it's going to be sales order item, and this is going to be the structure for that. So I'll choose all the fields from this, and I'll choose the sales order ID as a key field, and I will click on finish. Okay, so I'll also make this item as well, item position also as a key field, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an association here in order to retrieve this item information. I'm going to create an association, and I'm going to name my association as SO header to item, and the principal entity is going to be my sales order header, and the dependent entity is going to be my item, and the cardinality is going to be for one sales order there can be either no items or any number of items that are available, and I'm going to give this navigation property as items. Then I'm going to map it with this key structure for SO ID, and I click on finish. So now I will generate the necessary regenerate the service in order to create the necessary methods. So I'm regenerating it. So now that I have regenerated it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this gateway client where we are testing our gateway service, and I'm going to execute this sales order item detail. So now you could see that um, it has not been refreshed yet. So I'll go back and I will come again. Okay, now the item set is available. Now, if I read this sales order information, you could also see that for a particular sales order, I can also read this items aggregation as well. So by navigating to this particular path item, I can get this item details. But the thing is that the system does not provide me this item set aggregation. Now, in the previous association that we have created, it has gone to the get entity method, whereas here it has gone to the method get entity set. The reason is being that in the previous association that we have created, the cardinality is 1:1. So for one sales order, there is going to be one business partner. So since there is going to be only one business partner, it has gone to the method get entity. Whereas here, for one sales order, I'm going to have like more than one item. So it has gone to the method. So what we will do is we will implement our logic inside this method get entity set. I'll reopen this class again, where you can see this method get entity set is available here. So I'm just going to redefine this method. And for now, I'll just put a breakpoint here. So when I try to read this items aggregation, now the system is going to go to that method which we have implemented. And if you check for the parameter, it has this IT underscore key tab, which has this sales order header number, item sales order number. So with this number, I'm going to get this item details and I'm going to return the item values. So what we will do is, we already have a similar logic to this where we have read our get entity method where we have called the same function module. The only difference is that we did not read the item information here. So I'll just copy this code. So what we are doing here is we are getting this key field information and we are converting that key field information. Then we know that this particular function module, it is only going to give the data in the form of this particular, it is going to take the importing parameter in this structure. So we are passing the data in that particular structure. And this one, it also has one more parameter for tables where it has this item data, which is what I wanted. And I'm going to get that item data and I'm going to put that item data into this. Okay, I'm going to put this item data into this et underscore entity, and here I will not be needing this header data, which will not be available there. Et underscore entity set. Okay, for some reason it's not displaying the signature. Okay, so I'll reprint this. So now if I trigger this request once again, here you could see that we are getting this key field information and we are converting that, and by passing it to this function module we are getting this item detail for that particular sales order and we are giving that information back. So you can see this item information is being displayed over here. So now that this item details are available to us, we will go to the UI and we will extend our UFI application from there. So just like what we did for this, to display the supplier information, I'm going to create one more fragment over here, which is going to display me this item details. So I'm going to say sales order item dot fragment dot xml, and I'm going to create a fragment. So fragment definition, whereas the core library is to come from sap.ui.core and the default namespace is to be xml ns sap.yum. Now inside this, I'm going to create a table where I'm going to use this, make use of this library sap.m.table to create the table control. So if you see this, it has this aggregation called as a column where I'm supposed to specify the list of columns. So I will create a table first where for this table, I'm going to have this aggregation called columns, which is of type sap.m.column. So the aggregation value is to be columns, and inside this columns aggregation we are going to have this sap.m.column type. So I'm going to create a column of that particular category where this has the property such as what is the header and what is the footer for the column. So I'm only going to specify a header here, and inside the header it supports any type of control. So I'll just give a plain text control where I'll give a text, and what are the information that I'm going to display here is, so we will display this product ID. First we'll display the item number, then similarly we will display this product ID, and then we will display the quantity, and we'll display this net amount, and sorry, we display this gross amount and currency code. So we have five columns created for the table over here. Then this is only going to create the columns for us. Now for the table, we also wanted to create the items as well. So if you go back to our table API documentation, we could see that the table has only columns aggregation, but whereas the other properties are coming from this list base, where in the list base, you can see that it has this aggregation called items, which means the items aggregation is available for the table as well. So I'm going to create an items aggregation within which I'm going to specify how each and every row information is to be displayed. So basically I'm going to give the template information. So it supports any one of this item template, and I'm going to choose this column list item so that I could display it as a column, and I'm going to choose this column list item as a template, and inside this column list item it has the cells aggregation within which I'm going to specify the cells. um, I'm going to specify as the cells can be of any type of control. So I will map it parallelly according to each and every row that we are generating. So I'm going to create cells of 5 category where I'm going to specify all of them as a text control. So this is for the first column, second column, third column, fourth column, and fifth column. So parallelly we will also do the binding as well. So I will bind this items aggregation to the parent control table where each and every row should come from this particular element. So I'm going to specify this ID as ID sales SO items, and the items aggregation for the table should get the value from this particular path, which is slash I wanted it to get from this association. So now, unlike I did the element binding for this association, I need not do it here because when I give this items aggregation to the item of a table control, this control itself is capable of reading those values. So I need not do any element binding. So since it's always directly in that particular path, so it's going to navigate that and it is going to get this information. When it gets this information, I wanted each and every row to be populating. I wanted the first column to populate the sales order item ID, item position. Then I wanted the second column to point to my product ID. And the third column is to point to the quantity. And the fourth column is to point to the gross amount. And the fifth column is to point to the currency code. So I have created a table control with 5 columns, and I have also done the binding as well. Now what we will do is we'll go to the detail controller, and here I'm going to make a check, display the item. I'm going to make a check that if this dot o fragment so items. So if this instance is not available already, then I'm going to create that instance where I'm going to create this instance as sap.ua.xml fragment. So I'm going to instantiate this fragment where I'm going to say ISO items, and the fragment name would be in this path. We have this fragment name as sales order item, and the third parameter is going to be this. Then I will also get this page element as well, page reference as well. and then I will. This is something that I could as a problem, and I'm going to do the same two steps to add the fragment to the page, except that the fragment name is going to be this. Right, so we have created our fragment and we have added it. So we will submit the changes and we'll test our application. So whenever I'm going to select a particular item, now we'll also check the network section as well. So for only sales order set, detail has been retrieved. Okay, it's directly triggering this items and not from this. Probably the reason could be it is trying directly to use this item for any key field. Okay. Team submit. Okay, so what I have missed is here when I specified this items binding, I have specified a slash over here, which is directly directing to this items aggregation, which is directly pointing to the entity set called as slash items. Since we are already there in the same level, I have just removed that slash where we are already directed to a binding context which is pointing to that one row in the sales order. So in that one row in the sales order I wanted the items, so I have specified that here. And now, okay, so now it is going to read this item details by going to that particular path, and it is going to display this item information here. Then what we will do is we'll also add a footer over here to the page control, where I'm going to add it in the detail view. After this content aggregation, I'm going to add this footer within which I'm going to place the bar control. So now you could see this item detail displayed over here. So what we have done is that we have so far implemented the entity set operation, entity operation, as well as this association from the gateway part. Now we will also further extend this application, where later on I'll be creating an button over here called as confirm, and when I click on this confirm, I'm going to confirm this purchase order. So to do this confirmation action, I do not have to create a separate entity, whereas uh, as I'm going to do is a single operation, I will be creating something called as a function import, with which we'll be achieving that particular task. Then we'll also see we'll also place a change button over here, where we will update some values, and we'll also see how to do this create operation as well, create and delete operation as well. So basically we will perform the CRUD operation now, where we have only performed this read thing. Now we will also extend this application further to do this create, change, and delete as well. So thanks for watching this video. I will explain the function import in the next session. Thank you.